Good evening. What's going on? Just wanted to check on, see with you guys. I'm going to let a couple more people kind of join here as we get going here and just see what's happening here as we get another update for you here about what's happening. So just wanted to make sure you guys are up to speed on what's happening this evening here. So now that a couple people have joined me, I'm going to pop on, say hello. Weather First Meteorologist Garry Frank with an update here as we try to keep you posted about what's going on. We've been talking about the possibility for strong to severe storms, and I think the positive thing that all the cloud cover throughout the day has kind of diminished that to some degree. But I do want to keep you posted because 24 hours ago we had a tornado watch that got hoisted up about 9:40, and we're talking about the possibility of stronger storms as this line moved through. And now I want to show you what this line looks like here now. We don't have to deal with the same thing 24 hours from now. So the big story for us is, yes, there is one tornado warning in Springfield, but that's actually part of a tornado watch that's to the south. So first and foremost, that is not something that we really have to deal with here. So I'll put that on there for you so you can see what it looks like. That's where the tornado watch is. It's well to the south. It's Fayetteville. It's south of Branson. There's a Renegade tornado warning north near Springfield, but the rest of it, honestly, which probably is a bigger concern than most things now, is the fact that we have some pretty decent flooding. And I'm going to try to follow along with your comments, but the flooding risk, at least in central Missouri, watch where all this rain has started to settle in. You've seen this here locally. And it really hasn't been, it's really taken its sweet time to get here. As we've gone from Bowling Green areas in Pike County, you'll notice here at nighttime where we started to see this kind of, all this low-level moisture really settle in as the radar kind of pops out that way. This is where we've seen a steady stream of rain that, you know, honestly has got some pretty good rainfall rates as I zoom in for you. And so what I want to point out is the fact that it's going over the same location for a pretty good amount of time. You'll see this. It's rained a little bit in Herman, Montgomery City, and into Bowling Green, but not quite as much just yet. This is all part of a larger system which will continue to work its way off to the east. And one of the reasons for this now is the fact that we've got this front that's finally going to push through. We have temps in the 70s here, but the front is really right here where I'm going to put this, and you'll see this when I put some different products here on it for you in a second. It's right about here that this front's going to continue to push in. You got that colder air behind it, and that front along the leading edge, we've had some of the development with severe weather to the south and some better dynamics for that. And that's just not something that we've had to deal with, you know, with that severe weather. You'll see where the back edge of that clearing is. It's almost through Kansas, through Pittsburgh, into Joplin. So that's where things are much quieter. But as far as severe weather, I don't want you to think you have to go to bed and really worry about severe weather all that much. So let me look at a couple of the comments here on our Facebook live stream and some of the other ones just to see if anybody's checking in with much going on. But Jake asked if it stopped eastward movement last night. I don't think it will hit St. Louis tonight at all. That's a good question, Jake, because that was definitely a tricky situation where we had some of these storm complexes that developed to the south, but also this entire area kind of moved to the north. So this one is all part of this front that's eventually moving from west to east, like I'll show you here, and I'll zoom out. I'll put a different radar product on so you can see all of it at one time. So we've got this wide area here. This is all part of this front that's moving. Last night we had complexes of storms, that the supercell thunderstorms that kind of pushed together, and once they kind of worked their way together, part of it moved to the north, part of it moved here, and then they kind of had a mind of their own. That's where we had some of that rain as well that settled in. But this one has a steady stream of rain right along this front. We have moisture that's feeding right into that front, and that's where we're going to see that severe threat. That was why we had the severe threat, because, you know, if we had sunny skies, more instability, and other fuel, there are a lot of other things that line up pretty well, and that's why we talked about it so often throughout the week with the potential, because there's a lot of other factors that go into this as well. We have this forcing mechanism, we have a lot of moisture that's obviously settling in, but if we had instability, you get all those, and that's where you mix into the severe weather threat. We just don't have that tonight, which is positive when you go to bed. So I want to show you what this may look like, because this still is a weather alert night and evening, and what this may look like here over the next several hours. And that's a good point from Jake, so I can show you how this looks a little bit better here. This this is eventually going to get here. It's taking its sweet time to get here, but that's why I want to prepare you at 9:15 now before you go to bed. You're getting ready to go to school or work, and you have storms in the middle of the night again. You hear something loud, you wonder, hey, is this severe weather? It's not out of the question that we could have 1 or 2 strong to severe thunderstorms. I just don't really think that's going to be the case, especially looking at some of this right now. And this may not be till 11:15 by midnight. This is something I'm going to stay up a little bit and kind of keep you posted on. But this is going to take its sweet time getting here. But as a result of its slow movement, that's where the flooding concern comes into play. There's a lot of significant moisture. And you just look at, even as I just kind of cue this up for you, and I'll flash back to that in a second here. As you just look at some of the rainfall rates that are on the higher side, and normally I look at some of these and say, well, you know, it's not really moving that quick, so or it's moving fast, so it's not really going to rain that hard. Well, you know, you look at some of the rainfall rates here. You got 1.5 inches rain per hour. You got some of the areas in orange, and you know, up to 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So as I zoom in, you can really kind of see some of that. And I know that's not impacting most of our area just yet, but it is something to note as we see repeated areas of rainfall. It goes over and over again. So, you know, that's a good point. Rain totals for April, Jason, this is actually something I'm going to talk about here a little bit at 10. So I'm just kind of looking at your comments here. This is a one-man show tonight here at 9. The rain totals for April, the most impressive thing for me when you compare it to the first 3 weeks of April to the first 3 weeks of April last year is it is significantly different. This is when we started to sink into the drought. We're in a top 14. We're top 14, top 15. We've already got over 6 inches of rain. We're going to add to that tonight and probably past midnight for some of us. So we're going to continue to work our way closer to the top 10. So pretty significant. Now the rain, the positives for some of the bigger rivers, they can get some of this rain. It's been really historically dry, but when it comes to flooding, I don't think we're going to see anything incredibly significant overnight, right? We haven't seen days upon days of this rain, but it is more saturated than it's been. So it's just something that we got to pay attention to, and it's something I want you to pay attention to maybe before you go to sleep overnight. Make sure the backup battery on the sump pump, things of that nature. Things I can quickly do are, there's a drain in my yard that I know gets covered with leaves. Even with a headlamp on, I can go blow that thing out with my leaf blower, get the leaves out of there, and at least give myself a better drainage. But, you know, I don't think that we're going to get any storms when it comes to, Tim said he's doing us a favor here in Collinsville. He's not going to get any storms. I don't think this is a pull your car in the garage situation when it comes to hail and tornadoes. We're seeing more trends for rain. So it's just going to be more rainfall. In fact, one of the other products that I can show you here is also the fact that the Weather Prediction Center, which is, we talk about Storm Prediction Center, Weather Prediction Center looks at the excessive rainfall outlook for tonight, and there's a 15% chance of flash flooding in that area. So that doesn't mean we're going to see that. It's just not out of the question that a few spots, especially off to the southwest, that are getting that rain a little sooner, that have seen more rain, may get some of that flash flooding. It's not out of the question that we'll see that overnight. So I just want to keep you posted upon that. So once again, as we get back to a few things here, here's what it may look like here over the next several hours as we continue to keep you posted. By 11, 12, 1 o'clock, this line of storms is probably going to look real similar to what it does right now. You know, I think we're going to see things for the most part look real similar. And watch past 2 or 3 o'clock, that works its way into the Metro East. And as we continue to see things, Jennifer asked, anything severe for Troy? That's what and Jan, that makes a good point. Jan said, that's what we said yesterday, and then there was a tornado watch till 4 a.m. So I could point that out, and I'll talk about some of the differences from yesterday when we talked about some of those downstream storms. Yesterday we had some of the better dynamics that were in play in Missouri, and then also we had that line of storms that raced across that looked really similar to this. And it was entering that less than favorable atmosphere. We had cloud cover that didn't quite allow us to warm up, but it still warmed up in the upper 70s. But as it held together in Columbia, we actually had wind damage that was confirmed. We had a couple of areas that still had that potential for rotation. That's why they had 2 to 3 tornado warnings in central Missouri. So Storm Prediction Center sees that line of storms that I can line up that was real similar to the last one. It was a line of storms a lot stronger than this at this point, and we had those areas of rotation along the side of it. So we get the tornado watch. 9:40 or so about 24 hours ago. And as soon as the tornado watch goes through, we start to see that gust front of cool air kind of settle in ahead, stabilize things even more, and pretty much end that threat. So we didn't have any severe weather at all, which is what we talked about to some degree, but it just didn't line up as well as perhaps, anytime you have a tornado watch and I'm staying here till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's always something that we look at. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to be the same tonight because we've been kind of cloudy and cool. We had rain in the morning, and Vincent says it's good sleeping weather. So no, Nikki, nothing serious for Warrenton. I'm not concerned so much. Here are the 3 things that I want to point out as kind of a general blanket rule for us. The severe threat has diminished considerably. It's not out of the question that we might get one random severe thunderstorm warning. I really don't think that's going to be the case at all, but it's not out of the question. Severe weather chance is very isolated. You can get some locally heavy rain and some loud thunderstorms with this. There's no doubt about that. And so that's what I want to point out, the difference between you go to sleep or you hear a loud clap of thunder outside or the wind picks up to 30 or 40 miles an hour. All things that are very, very possible, but not severe weather, not going to cause you too many issues, might wake you up. But like I mentioned, as I put even some of the lightning things back on and show you what's happening, I just don't think severe weather is in play tonight simply because we just don't have much instability even as that front moves through. So we have this steady line moving through. You have this lightning. There's not a ton of it, even as I put the lightning counter on this entire region. That's also another indicator that we don't have much going on with this, even as you look at some of the lightning strikes throughout the region. There's just the storm strength and instability. If we only have 5 lightning strikes over the last 15 minutes, is just not incredibly significant. So, just kind of keeping some of you guys posted. David, Franklin County, not too much. I just don't think the severe threat is there for us tonight. I will say though, look at some of the potential rainfall. That's not out of the question. I'm not saying that this is going to happen in these cities in every specific spot, but through Monday, look at the regional rainfall as a result of this system, right? We've got some locally heavy areas that will see over 1 to 2 inches. So it's not out of the question that we're going to see some of those localized streams go up pretty well and pretty quickly. So that's something that we have to look out for. Once again, the possibility for some heavy rainfall continues to be in play, but as far as severe weather, I think that stays out of our area. This is one lone severe thunderstorm warning at all, and that's well south of our area, and we'll see if that works its way toward Iron County or Reynolds, but I just don't think that's going to be the case. That's a more favorable area for that kind of stuff. So as this entire area continues to see just a good old-fashioned steady rain and heavy rain and moves very slowly, I mean incredibly slowly, that's what we're going to look out for tonight. It's that wide area of rain that looks something like this and probably moves through at about 11 all the way to 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. By the time you check in with Anthony tomorrow morning, there's probably some rain in the Metro East. It's going to slow you down. It's to the south. Just kind of checking in to see what everybody else is asking. So yes, David, just flooding at most, I think. So that's what we're looking at. 4, 5, 6 o'clock, things really settle down. I think obviously as you go into the middle portion of the night, the severe weather threat winds down anyway overall. But as far as just not only that, but checking into some of the things from what's being said here in our channels with the Weather Service and the emergency management partners, not much going on except for the fact that the rain started a little bit later and still is just looking to be out of here by 4, 5, 6 o'clock. So once again, the 3, 4, 5 things that you really have to work out is tonight, overnight, the severe weather threat has diminished considerably. It's almost zero. I just pointed out just in case we get one severe thunderstorm warning, but that is just not really an issue. But the locally heavy rain with loud thunderstorms that you will feel overnight, that's what we're looking at as this entire cold front moves through. So I'll end this stream. I'll leave you on that specifically, where you look at all that rain and the one severe thunderstorm warning that's in place in Springfield. The rain is going to be the biggest factor for us here ahead, and we'll look for some localized flooding, and we'll keep a close eye on that here into the overnight hours. That could be something that we continue to see. But when you're talking about anything else that's going on, that's about it for tonight. And I think we've got a lot more quiet. Actually, have a lot more quiet conditions ahead too, and I'm actually going to throw the 10-day forecast on for you just so you can see that what I mean, because I think it's going to be a lot better. Let me switch that back for you while I'm talking, and you know, it's a lot better. We're in pretty good shape. So any rain that we see is mainly southeast tomorrow. We dry out. We're back into the upper 80s. We have more chances Thursday and Friday. Nothing severe at this point. And then it's quiet when it comes to severe weather, I think, over the next few days with just chances for rain. April into May, we're feeling it. It's warmer, and I will leave you with that on the full screen as I conclude this stream. And you just kind of prepare for a loud night, maybe. Like I said, there's not much lightning with this, but the rain's probably going to come down at a pretty heavy clip. We can get 30, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts if you're a light sleeper. That might wake you up. We'll keep you posted if anything changes.